Okay, so I was gonna do a light language video. I just did one and then I was gonna do another one just because I haven't done it in so long and I kind of just want to let it all out while I have my heart open right now from this cacao ceremony. But I actually felt inspired to talk about the divine feminine and stepping into your power and goddess energy because I speak a lot about that on my posts, but I've never made a YouTube video about it. And I actually have not made a YouTube video in so long. So I have nothing planned to say, and I'm hoping that I can download it and kind of channel some right words to say to speak on this subject because I actually love this subject and I love talking about it. And yeah, it's not going to be planned, so I'm just going to speak from the heart and hope the right words come out, which usually they always do. So let me see where to start. First, I'm going to ground my energy because I just had a cacao ceremony and my energy is very high right now. So feel free to join me if you want to take a few deep breaths. Start to settle into your body. Feel the sensation of your breath rising and falling. Inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. 2 more, just like that. Start to focus on your heart space. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, imagine on your heart chakra a lotus flower, and as you exhale, imagine this lotus flower opening slowly, petal by petal, flowering open, unfolding. So much more grounded. And then I'm gonna play my heart chakra singing bowl to help also when I'm talking to come from my heart space. That was so beautiful sounding. I love these singing bowls. Okay, so I think I know where to start. So the last few thousands of years, we've been in a patriarchal society and we've kind of been leading with the mind, and the dominant energy has been masculine, the divine masculine. So I'm trying to think of qualities like power, greed, suppression, control. That's all I could think of right now. And right now we're in a cycle where we're leaving the divine masculine energy. We're not leaving it completely, but we're entering into a new half of the cycle that also will incorporate an equal amount of divine feminine energy, because you have to have a balance. You have to have both a sorry, I can't talk. You have to have a balance of divine masculine and divine feminine energy, Shiva and Shakti. yin and yang. You can't have one without the other. And each one is inside of us. So when we are in a certain cycle of consciousness, it reflects on the microcosmic scale. So if we're in a part of the cycle where it's mainly led by the divine masculine, all of civilization is going to be dominantly masculine qualities that we're expressing inside ourselves. And it will reflect in our outer world. So I don't know if that made sense. But when we're entering into a new cycle of consciousness that is the divine feminine is rising to balance out all the thousands of years of patriarchy that we've been in, it's balancing out. It's rising. It's not rising above the masculine. It's going to be an equal amount of divine masculine and divine feminine. But for thousands of years, we have been, as women, suppressed. And our magic has been stripped away from us. And instead of being the wise women that we once were in civilizations like Atlantis and more so Lemuria than Atlantis, but we were the creatrixes of life. We're the life givers. We literally birth souls into this world. We create life from the womb of our body. So we were once looked at as wise women, and most in these other civilizations like Lemuria, we were sorry, I can't talk. People came to us for advice, and we were looked at as equal, if not more wise than the men in the civilizations. But as the cycle went on, and it's a natural cycle of evolution, and we chose this cycle. It's nothing that hasn't happened before. It's like a spiral. It goes round and around. But we have been suppressed for many ages. Our magic, our wisdom, our life-giving energy has been suppressed, and we've been turned into something like during the, I don't know what age. Sorry, I'm not channeling very well right now, but we were looked at as witches for using our magic. Like, we naturally all have this magic inside of us. We are creators of the material world. We create, we manifest life, we're creatrixes. And we were looked at as witches, and we were stripped of our power, and we came, I don't know exactly how it happened, but we came to this point in society where we weren't looked at and respected as the goddesses that we were and are. And now that we're coming back into the divine feminine cycle of creation, we are now tapping back into that magic, into that power. We're reclaiming our power. We were suppressed and we were silenced for so long over the past thousands of years, and we were looked at as less than men. And we, just take a look around you in society. Like, women are being raped. Women are, some women are forced into sex trafficking. There's jobs such as strip clubs and all these like demeaning places for women to be. They're made to feel like as if they're nothing, and that their sexuality is something to be ashamed of and used. And I'm going to speak more on this later. But, we are not supposed to be using our sexuality in that way. It's sacred, and it's not supposed to be used for the purpose that it's been used for so many years. We are vessels of the divine, and a lot of us have forgotten our magic and forgotten our power, and you know, a lot of us don't realize the magic and the power that we hold inside ourselves and inside our souls. We are all goddesses, and we are all so powerful. We're powerful manifestors. We're life givers. Even if you're not a mother, you birth lots of things. You don't just birth children as a woman. You birth creations into existence. You birth creativity and you birth lots of stuff. But like, we've been using our bodies, our sacred temples, for the benefit of men, and it's not supposed to be like that, you know? Like, we're supposed to be respected as women, and we have to claim that. We have to reclaim that power. And when you claim your power, you stop giving it away to other people. Society has forced us into, I just saw 11:11. Society has forced us into giving away our power and making us not feel as powerful as we should. And we are very powerful. We are so powerful. We're literally the bridge from matter to the spirit world. We're the bridges. We're the rainbow bridge. And as we tap more back into that power and that magic, and we stop giving away our power to men and other people, and we reclaim it, and we realize the power within us, and we start remembering the magic that we have inside of us and using it to help usher in this golden age, to help create heaven on earth again. Where we're heading right now is into a new golden age, and we need to 12:12. I don't know why I keep seeing so many angel numbers, because I feel like I'm not saying the right words right now, but maybe this will resonate with some of you, even though I can't find the right words to express myself so fluidly as I want to. It's not flowing, and I keep messing up, but hopefully whoever's watching this will still receive something out of it. Forgot what I was saying, and I keep burping because I was drinking cacao earlier, which I thought would help me open up and help the words to just flow out of me, but you know, it's not going exactly how I thought. But when does life ever go how you thought, you know? It's not meant to be forced to go your way. You can't control everything, you know? If you just surrender and allow things to flow, that's when you're tapping back into that feminine nature of allowing and, you know, letting things flow rather than trying to control everything, which is the masculine traits that we're trying to get away from, or at least balance it out with an equal feminine traits. So we were suppressed for thousands of years. We forgot our power. We forgot our magic. We started feeling less than, and now we're coming into a time where we're remembering our other lifetimes where we were revered, I don't even know how to pronounce that, as sacred goddesses and sacred vessels of the divine. And so we're reclaiming our power, and we're doing it together. And instead of breaking each other down and tearing each other apart and competing with one another and all these things that we have been doing, we're stopping that cycle. And it starts with us, with you individually. And then when we all stop that competitive nature and we look around and we see that there's room for all of us to rise, and there is no competing, there is empowerment. Like, we are all vessels of the divine. We need to stop judging each other, and we need to start, you know, coming together and realizing our sacred power and our sacred nature and helping each other rise, helping empower one another. no longer should we be tearing each other down and talking about each other and judging each other. We're all the sacred feminine and the divine feminine, and I think that it's time that we start coming together and reminding each other of the magic that we hold. And when we come together, the energy amplifies. We can send that out into the world and create change. We can create more change. We could help usher in this new golden age and create heaven on earth where we all can thrive. There's no competition between us. We're all one. If you're competing with somebody, or you're tearing them down, or you're trying to judge them and feel as if you're better than them, you're doing that to yourself. You're not doing it to them. They're a reflection of what you need to heal inside yourself. So when you look at another woman and you're saying, oh, I don't agree with what she's doing, it's triggering something inside of you that you need to heal. So, you know, when you come from the heart and you use compassion for others and non-judgment, you can start to see the beauty in everyone and see that there is no one way to live life. There is multiple, endless ways to live life. I mean, for each individual, each soul that has chosen to incarnate here on earth, they chose their own path and they're living their own path however they please, whether you agree with it or not. They're choosing to live out their life in a way that suits their soul, and it may not agree with the path that you have chosen, but it doesn't make their path any less right or wrong, and it doesn't make your path any more right or wrong. Hold on one second. Sorry, that's just my daughter telling me that I'm taking too long, but I just want to speak from my heart and say that I'm so grateful to be a part of this shift in consciousness where we turn from being stripped of our power and our sacred feminine nature and shifting into realizing our power and our magic and tapping back into it. I mean, this is why we chose to incarnate as women, is for this shift, for this time. Like, maybe in a past life or a parallel life, you've been burned at the stake for speaking your truth, for sharing your magic, and for being a healer, a natural, innate healer. Maybe you were killed for it. Maybe you were silenced in other lifetimes, but you came back. Your soul came back for this shift, because now you can't be killed for speaking your truth anymore. You can't be silenced anymore. We cannot be silenced, and we came here to remind other women and everyone that we're here to rise, and we're here to balance out the divine masculine and feminine energies again, and to reclaim our power and heal the world and heal the patriarchal wounds that have been, you know, I don't know how to say it, but I'm sure you can look around the world right now and see there's a lot of patriarchal wounds that have been caused from us living in a predominantly masculine society for so long. Just like some examples that I mentioned earlier that I'd rather not speak on anymore, maybe at the end of the video, but women are not meant to just be used for their sexuality, for the pleasure of men, and for just the way society makes women, like in porn and sex trafficking and strip clubs. Like, that's not our purpose, is to be sexual objects. Like, we're sacred, we're sensual, and we're sacred, but it's not to be looked at as something for other people. It's for us. And just because we're sensual in nature doesn't mean that we are to be used solely for that purpose, or to be looked at as solely sexual objects for the pleasure of men. And we've been exploited for thousands of years, and it's time to stop that cycle. It's time for women to stop being called sluts and whores for tapping into their sensual, natural energies. And, you know, just for example, like women who love to show their body, women who love to have sex, women who love to be sensual and talk about sex, and you know, those are just all examples. Like, you may see a woman doing that and embracing that side of herself, and it gets turned around and she's called a slut and a whore and all these different names, because even by other women look at that and they say they're threatened by it, and they're conditioned to think that they're supposed to suppress that side of themselves. So in the current day society, we may look at women like that and we're like, what are they doing? Like, how could they, you know, do that? And we're conditioned to think that's wrong. But there are souls who have incarnated to show us that we are allowed to tap into that energy again, and to, you know, if we want to show our bodies, that's up to us. Maybe the women who are doing that are here to break the paradigm and to show us that we are sacred. You know, we're not sluts, we're not whores. We already went through this with Mary Magdalene, and that's why she's been coming to me a lot. She's been coming to me along with a few other goddesses, but to remind us that she was not a prostitute. She was not a whore. I was just reading the book, the Magdalene manuscript, and it said the church has turned her story into something to suppress women again. She was trained under the wings of Isis as she learned sexual alchemy and sexual magic, and she helped Jesus charge his Ka body, or I think it's Ka body. I don't know if it's Ra or Ka, but she helped him with sexual alchemy, and the church turned it around and made her seem like she was a prostitute, but she was a sacred priestess that was trained in the sacred magic, sex magic of Isis, and it was turned around. And now, I mean, look how it's reflected in our present day society. Like, we're calling other women like whores and sluts and everything just for being sensual and sexual. But that's part of our nature as women. We're sacred, sensual vessels. We're divine. We're holy. We're not whores and we're not sluts, no matter how a woman chooses to express herself. Whether it's from dressing provocatively or, you know, whatever she chooses to do with her body, it's her own body. I mean, as long as you're respecting yourself and you're doing it for you, I don't think anyone should judge that, you know. I'm kind of hesitant and reluctant to speak on another subject. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but before my awakening, maybe like 4 years ago, I guess I can start from the beginning. So when I was 18 years old, I became an exotic dancer. And I have actually been so ashamed to tell anybody that, because I felt like people would think that I'm disgusting and like, oh my God, how could she do that? And like, you know, just judgment. And I actually judged myself for a long time after I quit dancing, and I felt like bad about myself, and I closed off that part of myself, that wild woman, warrior goddess like energy. And while I was a dancer, I really tapped into that, and it was empowering at first, and I'll explain my journey with that. But when I when I quit doing that, I closed that off and I made myself feel bad. I judged myself and I felt ashamed. And that's the number one thing that will strip you away from your magic and your power, is feeling ashamed for your sexuality, or embracing your sexuality or your sensuality. And I'm sure a lot of people will judge for this story, but you know, I feel like it's finally time to speak my truth. Like, I've hid this part of myself, not that it's a part of me, but it is part of my journey and has created the woman who I am today. So I guess it is a part of me. But I've been so ashamed, and you know what? As I step into my power, I choose not to judge myself anymore and to not be ashamed of that part of my journey, because it's made me into the woman and the goddess that I am today. And I say that not egotistically at all, because I'm still working on my self-confidence. Like, I lost a lot of my confidence over the past few years, and I'm finally reclaiming my magic and my power and finding self-love within my heart for myself. And you know, it's not an egotistical thing. You know, I'm just trying to find self-love again for myself. Like, all women should be doing that. So I want to explain my journey with this. I feel like this is the perfect video to talk about this, because it's time now for us to step into our power. And part of my journey is accepting all facets of myself and my journey. And I feel like me speaking about it, using my throat chakra, speaking my truth about this subject, you know, I'll be accepted or I'll be judged, but either way, it's helping me heal. So that's important to me. So when I was 18 years old, I got into it's like hard for me to talk about, but I feel like it'll be so healing to just finally let it out. And if people want to judge me, that's okay. And if people want to not judge me, then, you know, that's okay too, and I appreciate you for not judging me. But I want to explain my journey with that. So when I was 18 years old, right now I'm 28, so that was 10 years ago, I got into exotic dancing, and I was a stripper. And I was 18, I was in San Francisco, and I started dancing at the clubs in San Francisco, and I loved it. Like, as a young girl that had not a lot of self-esteem and have given away my power endlessly to other people, it was very empowering to like reclaim that power. And maybe you won't agree with the way I did it, but I was young and I didn't really have any guidance, to be honest. So I kind of fell into that. But, you know, everything happens for a reason. I doubt that it was on accident. We choose everything on our path, like, before we incarnate. And it was what triggered my awakening. So I don't regret it for a second. Although I used to, I don't anymore. And I can talk about it without judgment for myself, which is so beyond healing. And so I did that for years. I did it for 8 years, up until the time I was 26. But my journey with it started from feeling empowered and loving it, and kind of using it to help me find confidence within myself and to help me, I don't know, but as a young 18-year-old girl, it empowered me, and I liked the attention, and it helped me gain confidence in myself and in my sexuality. But as years went by, I started to hate the job, and it started going from something fun and, you know, harmless. I mean, I was only like a topless dancer, so to me it was like harmless. But as the years went on, I literally started hating it, and I felt like disgusted in it. Like the men I felt were like using the women for their own selfish reasons, and it just felt like such a patriarchal job to be in, and I didn't want to like serve in life with that job. Like that was not my purpose. That's not why I came to earth, is to be used as a sexual object for the fulfillment of like men's desires. Like now that I think of it, it's pretty fucked up that they even have that job as an option. But you know, we're coming out of patriarchy, so it makes sense that there's jobs like that. So yeah, I eventually started like hating it, and I started unconsciously awakening, and my soul was like suffering. So, you know, with suffering and darkness, there comes like a breakthrough, and I started like awakening, and I started tapping into like my clairsentience and realizing, well, I didn't consciously realize, but I was feeling others' emotions, and it really was hard for me because I started developing social anxiety, and it made the job really hard. And it was beautiful and glamorous at first, and I made a lot of money and it was fun. But as time went on, it's like when I started to feel others' emotions, like, could you imagine the dark, repressed energy in that place? Like, it was not fun anymore. And like, I started getting really sensitive to people, and like, I would feel bad, like, for going in there, and I couldn't, like, the veil was lifting, and I couldn't, I don't know how to explain it, but when you're like asleep and you're not awakening, it's so easy to be fake. But like the more I awakened, even if it was unconscious or conscious, I couldn't be fake anymore. I couldn't put on that persona that I created anymore, and it became hard to do that job, because to do that job you have to basically be very fake, and I couldn't do it anymore. So the more like authentic I started getting, the harder it became to make money. And it actually, for years and years, it got worse and worse, to the point where I wasn't making any money anymore. Like when I was young and I was 18 and I enjoyed the job and I could, you know, have fun with it, I made a lot of money. But as the years went by, like 8 years, towards the last few years, I couldn't take it anymore, and I actually started hating it. And I was kind of stuck in it because it was the only job I had done for so long. And at that point I had a child, and I had to support myself, and you know, it was hard to give up that lifestyle because I didn't really know what to do after that. It's all I knew for like 8 years. And it was like easy. You know, I could just go to work on the weekends and have enough to pay rent and all the bills that I needed, and I didn't really have to work. So as I started awakening, I just saw 333. I started to do that. And then I started getting into reading all these books. Like some of these books I bought in 2012 when I was dancing. I spent like $3,000 on books, and I was unconsciously awakening at the time, and I didn't know it. And I was just researching all this information, like the ages changing and the Mayan long count calendar ending and consciousness changing. And I started researching about consciousness and everything, and it's like I didn't want to go to work anymore. All I wanted to do was read, to be honest, and like be with my child. I didn't want to be in that like suppressing place anymore. And it wasn't about money to me anymore. It was about my soul wasn't happy, and it was no longer empowering for me as a woman. It was the opposite. So my soul started becoming really unhappy. It actually played like a huge part of my awakening, doing that job, because it made me fall into a really dark place. Once I started like fully awakening in 2012, I became so depressed that I started drinking at work, and I couldn't work without drinking because it helped me when I drink. It helped me put on that facade, or I don't know how to say it, FACADE, to where I could be fake and, you know, make money without thinking of what I was really doing. And it became a problem. I started only being able to work when I drank. And I couldn't work without drinking, otherwise I would hate being there and I would want to leave. So I started drinking, and then I started getting really depressed. Every time I would come home, I would start crying, and I went into this really dark place, and it got so bad to the point where I didn't want to live anymore. Like, I would come home and, you know, I don't know if anyone knows this, but you have to pay to work there. So you'd pay like upwards of like $100 to $150 just to go to work. And, you know, usually it's worth it when you're making money, but when you're not making money anymore, like, I would start losing profit. And then I had to pay for a babysitter and pay for like other stuff, and I started not making enough money to survive off of. And then my daughter's father ended up going to jail and for a year, and I literally, everything started falling apart. And I would come home and I'd give the babysitter what I made that night, basically, and I would have no profit. And it was just starting to become so straining on my soul. Like, I remember burying my head in pillows and just saying, like, why am I so unhappy? Why does my soul feel like it's dying? And that was like it. That was my awakening. Once I hit rock bottom, like, and fell into complete darkness, that's where I found my light. That's where I started realizing I'm going through an awakening. And so this video kind of like shifted and went from me talking about divine feminine and now like my story of awakening, but I feel like it all ties together. And if you don't want to watch the rest of the video, I guess like you could just watch the beginning. But for anyone who actually wants to hear my story or who's interested in my story, I am fine with telling it, because that story is what made me who I am today. So it's okay. But I'm probably gonna wrap it up and then start talking about what I was talking about before in the beginning, but I really feel called to share this story and this part of my journey. So yeah, so after I couldn't make money anymore doing the job that supported me for over 8 years, and I had no other job options at the time. I mean, I'm sure if I really wanted to get a job that I could have, but with the state of mind that I was in, I didn't want to. Like, my soul was dying and I needed a break from everything. So then when Jayla's dad went to jail for a year, and like that was like the final like straw for me, I was like, I need to quit. Like, I can't do this job anymore. It's literally killing my soul, and I feel like this is not what I'm meant for. Like, why is this life? That's all the questions that went through my head. And I finally decided to give up my apartment and let it get evicted. I couldn't like pay the rent. I couldn't pay anything. I could barely like get groceries, which is, when you think about it, like a dancer that can't even pay for groceries. Like, I kept asking myself, like, universe, why is this happening? Like, how does a dancer not make money? It didn't make any sense. And I was like, this has to be happening for a reason. Then I started realizing, oh, I'm awakening. And I started doing like all the research and reading, and that became my like passion. I wanted to just consume all this knowledge. And I was like, honestly, I don't want to go to work. I literally just want to stay home and read about consciousness and like the ages changing. And so I talked to my mom, who lived in California. At the time, I lived in Las Vegas, Nevada, for like the 5 years, the ending 5 years when I was dancing. And I talked to her and said, I want to quit my job and move back in with you until I can figure out what to do next. And she was like more than willing to let me come live with her again, because yeah. But she said I can come live with her and figure things out, and that was it. I you know? I let everything go. I let my apartment go. I let my house go. I talked to Jayla's dad. He agreed that that was for the best, that when he got back home, we would figure things out and he would move back to California with me and we'd figure things out and everything would be okay. And I was so happy. Like, so I went to my mom's house and we packed everything up in a U-Haul, and actually like most of my stuff went in storage for like a year, and I just kind of took like a box of books and a suitcase and like all my daughter's toys, and the rest of the stuff we left in storage in Las Vegas until I could drive it back in a U-Haul like 2 years later. But I ended up staying at my mom's house for like 2 years, and I went through another huge crucial like phase of my awakening, because I thought it'd be very like healing to not have to work or deal with like that hell of a place anymore. But I never had the best relationship with my mother, and it ended up being another dark, depressing phase that I went through. But that's where my the most major stage of my awakening happened, is at my mom's house. And I fully became like consciously aware that I was going through an awakening. That's where I started writing my book and channeling my book and learning about being a light worker and a starseed. And then my soul said, yes, this is what you're supposed to be doing. This is the path you're supposed to be on. You didn't come here to do that job. You're wasting your life away and you're going down the wrong path. That's why the universe literally forced me to stop heading down that path, and like basically like grabbed me and dragged me back in the right direction of life. And that's how I got to where I am today. So when I started reading about light workers, starseeds, everything, like I remember sitting at my mom's house doing like all the research, you know, like that phase of awakening where you're just consuming endless books and documentaries and YouTube videos. And I remember talking to my boyfriend on the phone while he was still in jail and saying that I'm learning all this stuff, and like he wasn't awakening, but he didn't understand. But I was trying to like tell him what I'm going through, and I was like, I'm like super interested in the pyramids and the mysteries of the pyramids and how they were built. And I remember him saying like, I heard the pyramids were built, like the aliens helped build the pyramids. And I was like, you believe in aliens? Like, what the fuck? I didn't know that. And he's like, no, I don't believe in aliens, but I don't not believe in them. And he was super open-minded. And at the time I was closed-minded about it. And all right. At the time, I was super close-minded about it, and I was like, I literally said these words, I was like, if you believe in aliens...
What are you talking about?
Aliens.
All about aliens in this whole video?
No, not all about aliens, just some about aliens. Love you. So I told him, I was like, if you believe in God, you don't believe in aliens. Like, I was like all ego and was thinking like that I knew everything.
Is that real?
Yeah, I told Daddy that. That was before I believed in aliens. So yeah, I didn't believe in aliens until like a little bit farther into my awakening, and I started reading all these books. Actually, this was the book, the #1 book that helped me believe in aliens, or helped me open my mind up to believe in them, in myself. So it's a channeled book by Tom Kenyon, and it's amazing. I know that this crown is like really extra, but I really like wearing it because it helps remind me of my inner goddess. And I was on live today talking about empowering goddesses and whatever, in case anyone's wondering why I'm dressed so extra right now. Oh yeah, okay, so I'm gonna continue my story, and sorry, I can't cut that part of the video out because I have no storage on my phone, and if I try to edit the video, it won't let me save it because I have no more storage. So I'm gonna just keep it rolling, even though there's some interruptions, but whatever, that's life, you just flow with it. So then I started believing in aliens. That was a major crucial shift in my awakening when I learned like about starseeds and like my mission on Earth. I know that sounds crazy if you don't resonate with that term, but I don't think anyone would be watching this unless they resonate with that term. But yeah. Then I started, finding my soul family after that, and finding other people that felt like they were starseed souls, and like that they were light workers, that they came here for a purpose, that they chose to incarnate here to share their light with the world and to help, teach and show by example, by leading with their light, by leading with their light, and, basically creating their own path for others to follow in. So when you find your soul family, it helps empower you. You finally feel like, yes, I'm not the only weird person who feels like I'm like an alien soul living in a human body, and you start to find people that also feel like that. And like my little starseed mug that I was drinking cacao in earlier. But yeah, it sounds crazy, but I'm not talking to people who think it sounds crazy. I think my audience is other starseeds, so I'm fine with saying that. But that was a major part of my journey, is finding my soul family, and so grateful for just the journey, because finding them helped me find myself more. And that sounds really like cliche, but it's true. Finding my soul family helped me find myself, and I'm still on the journey of finding myself. And I'm still learning about myself and my purpose and what I came here to do. And it's actually really magical, because I started I completely forgot to talk about the biggest like shift in my journey. Is while I was at my mom's, I told myself I have to do a spiritual job. Like, there's no way in heck in I was gonna say hell, but I don't want to cuss. There's no way in hell that I was gonna do another soul sucking job or any 3D matrix job. I told myself I have to do something like spiritual. That's when I got into Reiki. That's when I got into yoga teacher training, and I'm actually still completing that. It took me like a year to finish my classes because of some other stuff I was going through in my life, but that was a huge shift for me too, is like kind of learning what I want to do in this lifetime and things that fulfill my soul. So I'm really grateful that I found those two things, and they've been a really big part of my journey. And now I'm venturing into like hosting retreats, which is so soul fulfilling. And I realize that's also part of my mission, and my soul purpose is to hold space for others and to remind others of their magic, and to help them find their inner light, and to share it with the world, and to inspire, and to just bring women together, and to teach. And I'm also writing a book and channeling a book, so I feel like that's part of my mission too, is to teach about ancient I don't even realize what I just said. I think I said the wrong word. To teach about ancient and sacred knowledge, and to share about awakening. So it's actually so beautiful how my journey's been unfolding, and I'm so grateful, and it continues to unfold, and I continue to go through rebirths over and over again, and shed layers of myself, like who I thought I was, and to realize I am not that. And I'm slowly discovering more and more about myself, and it's just a journey of unfoldment, and I'm still on it. And I've been on this journey for a few years, and I'm still nowhere near the end. There is no end. It's like a constant journey of unfoldment, and it's not about the ending destination at all. It's about the journey. It's literally about the journey, because every step of the way, every step and every unfoldment, I don't even know if that's the right word, but every step of my journey, like, I'm just grateful, and I'm present for it, and I'm realizing it really isn't about the ending. It's not about like being some enlightened being, or enlightened, I don't even know how to say that, enlightened being. Like, like Buddha, it's literally just about the journey, and enjoy every step of the way. Don't try to rush or jump ahead. Like, enjoy every moment, every piece of your awakening. Enjoy the ups, enjoy the downs, and enjoy being here, like on earth, and experiencing this physical body and this journey. I got way off subject, but that's the whole point of not having a planned subject for a video, is that it can go any direction. And usually when I start going off subject, it's basically like what I'm supposed to be talking about. So I knew I would find the right thing to talk about, and I had like nothing planned, and I thought I wanted to talk about the divine feminine, and then it led into like this, but the message is clear. Whatever you got out of this video, it was meant for you to hear it. I hope you got something out of this video, and I hope it resonated with you on your journey. And you know, I'm still on my journey, so I am so grateful to share my journey if it helps you at all with your journey. And I'm grateful for this, you know, stepping into my power, because that's the part of the journey that I'm on right now, stepping into my power and realizing more and more about my soul purpose and what I'm here to share with the world. And wow, it's just so beautiful. I'm so happy that I drank this cacao today, because it allowed me to open my heart and share a piece of myself with you guys that I probably would have never shared, or it would have took me a lot longer. I didn't know if I ever wanted to share that part of my journey with you guys, but I did, and I appreciate you guys watching. And if anyone even got this far, or, you know, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it resonates with what you're going through on your journey, or, you know, I hope you just got something out of it that helped you, because that's why I share my story, and that's why I do what I do, to help others. And to, you know, when we share that raw, authentic part of ourselves, it allows us to see each other as one. When we share the deepest part of our soul and the deepest part of our journey and the dark side of awakening and the stuff that we may be ashamed of, or that, you know, it allows us to look at each other and say, we are more alike than we thought. You know, I'm sure some part of my journey resonates with each and every one of you who watches this, and we are all connected, and we're all one, and I am you and you are me. And as cheesy as that sounds, you know, that's what allows us to see the divine in each other. Like the term namaste, it's the divine light in me honors and bows to the divine light in you. Each one of us is the divine in disguise, as like Deepak Chopra would put it. I think those are the words he used, but he's like, we're all, you know, the universe, the whole universe reflected in each and every one of us. And there is only one consciousness. There is only one everything, and we're all reflecting this divine light in different ways, and we're all reflections of the divine. And so my hands are heating up, so I'm gonna send like some Reiki if you guys want to feel that. But I'm getting off subject again, but I just feel like I want to share these things. So nothing I say has to make sense, like, or be in order, because it's just coming out as it needs to. And I'm sure whoever needs to hear these words is gonna hear them. And I'm gonna end this by saying namaste, because the divine light in me bows to the divine light in each and every one of you. And thank you for watching. I'm so grateful for this journey, and to be on this journey with all of you special, beautiful souls. And I love you all so much. Namaste. Bye, you guys.